Well,
Because yeah, I'm super fan. I love your work. I didn't even know until I was following you on Instagram that you had this comedic flair and
thank you.
just jumping off. So can you tell me about your process? And maybe this is your approach to anything you do.
Mhm.
But if there is something different versus how you get ready to do something for social media versus how you get ready to do something for a self tape or
Mhm.
when you're on a set.
Mhm.
Can you walk us through from like the very beginning, maybe if it's different for each platform,
Mhm.
can you just walk us through those initial steps
Mhm.
before filming?
Yeah, so for me, it's very much so the same, just in terms of connecting with the character first and kind of what the character wants in the scene. So even with my comedy that I do, it's very much so acting in it, and I think that's what kind of makes it a little different because I'm not really doing like a lot of like knee slapper stuff. Like really, all of the comedy is in the writing for me, and I'm not trying
Mm.
to like force you to laugh. I'm just, whatever the character is that I'm portraying at that time, I'm just giving you a normal situation that just has a funny um, element to it. You know what I mean? And I try to do a lot of situational comedy where it's things that you might have seen before and didn't really realize it, or dealing with like a character that everybody kind of knows and it's like, yo, I got an uncle just like that or a cousin just like that. Um, so for the most part, it's just figuring out what my character is doing in the scene and just really trying to connect with him as much as possible so that it's really natural. So whether it is with my comedic stuff or just auditioning or other work, that's always like the first thing with me. um, and then comedically, what I realize is some actors have, I guess, some type of trouble with comedic acting. And for me, my comedic timing was always just pretty natural. But sometimes people don't realize where the joke is in the scene. So that's one thing that I kind of teach my kids, like just identifying what is the joke. And then from
So
there,
how do you, if you don't mind, because you're giving me a lot of gems and
Mhm.
I don't want to miss anything. How do you find where the joke is or where to enhance or like how do you do that?
Yeah. So honestly, it really depends on the work or what it is that you're reading. Like sometimes it's the joke is kind of hidden in the actions to where it's not really something you say, but if you read the actions and it's like, okay, yeah, that is probably the joke, or that's probably, whether it be something as simple as the character like sucking her teeth when somebody says something, or a look that is saying that they make, and just kind of visualizing how that could be funny in the scene. Um, so sometimes it's that, and then sometimes the joke is a little more obvious, but it's just depending on how you deliver it, whether it be just like a natural delivery where you kind of just maybe throwing the line away, or if it's a delivery where it's kind of like a niche slapper, or something that's just more pronounced. Like for instance, for a Tyler Perry show, the joke a lot of times is more of a knee slapper, more of a uh, girl, you better do something with your hair. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's more of a,
Yeah.
okay, that's the joke.
Uh-huh.
Whereas for like maybe a show that's coming on TNT or something like that that has a joke in it, it may be just more natural, like, well, did you get a haircut today? Or you know what I mean? And it's
It's like the subtext.
yeah, it's the subtext, you know what I mean? And it's, seeing what lines come before it and knowing, like, yeah, man, I just left the barbershop. Oh, did you? And it's like that, it can be that simple,
Mhm.
but it's, the joke, and it's just how you deliver it, how you kind of pace it and things like that.
So let's talk about pacing
Mhm.
as like a comedic actor, or do you categorize yourself that way, or just an actor?
Not really, just an actor.
Yeah,
Comedy is just, it's really natural to me. So
you run with it. Yeah.
I enjoy doing it, but like even the series that I'm writing now is a more dramatic type series. So I
Okay.
really love to do both. It's just comedy is just something that is like I can kind of do in my sleep, sort of thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
So when it comes to pacing, I know we're talking specifically for comedy.
Mhm.
Do you look for a joke in every line, or like do you wait a few lines? How do you keep it light, keep the
Mhm.
roller coaster going without it being like too much, or okay, that is not funny anymore, or is
Yeah.
there a certain is there a certain style or method that you use, or how do you do that?
Yeah, so a lot of times with comedy, there's you have like the haymaker or the big punchline, but leading up to the punchline, a lot of times you have like small like nuggets or small like jabs that lead up to like the punch. So even like writing for stand up, when I do stand up, which I don't do as often anymore, but you'll have the setup is what it's called. So the setup, really, you're setting up the punchline. So a lot of times it may be like a two setup joke, or maybe like a three setup joke, where it's like, um, let me see if I can think of one here. Boom, 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 boom. So hmm, I'm trying to think if I should think about it.
Now take your time. I mean,
Yeah, I'm trying to think if I should use like a video that I've done, or okay, so for instance, I have this video where I talk about um it's like this hood character that I use sometimes. His name is Big Doozy, and he's talking about, free all of my guys that are in jail. And where I got the joke from is like sometimes I see people like, man, free my boy, Big Murder, or free my boy,
uh-huh.
or whatever. And it's like, they don't sound like they need to be free. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
but cool. So, with the joke, with the video, all he's doing is saying like, free my guys. But the setup is where he's like, it's been a lot of stuff going on in the hood lately, just dealing with these crooked cops. And it'll make no sense. But anyway, man, a lot of my guys are locked up, and they some real good guys, wholesome dudes. And so it's kind of like setting up where the joke is going.
Heard
Then
you.
it goes into,
Yeah.
so free my boy Shooter, free my boy Robbery Rob, and
Yeah.
it's like, hold on, what?
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah. Yeah. I like that.
and then there's like another punchline in there where I'm talking to another guy, and he's like, Robbery Rob, he just killed a guard the other day. And then I'm like, see, that's what I'm talking about. If he wasn't in jail, he wouldn't even be feeling like
Right.
killing nobody. You know what I mean? Free
Uh-huh.
my guy, and kind of get back into it. So a lot of times we'll notice that in just comedic scripts and things, it just like the setup right before like the punchline, whether it be like another character saying something that kind of throws the alley oop to the big punchline, or it may just be the same character just kind of getting into a groove right before like the main joke.
So okay, so I can see that working if you're writing the script. But what
Mhm.
if what if you're just given a script and it's not really set up comedically for you to like, let it flow, or
Mhm.
let the writing just speak for itself? Is there anything you can do to, is there anything that an actor has control over to enhance the comedy if it's not written?
So if it's not written, I would argue that it may not be a joke. Like it really depends on. So for instance, when I did um Step Up, Hot Water. So when I do that series, I know I'm in a scene with Faison Love, and I know my whole character is he's being really serious, but I know that it's written to be funny because he's asking
Okay.
for these different flavor wings, and he wants straight flats, no I mean straight legs, no flats. He don't mess with the flats and stuff like that. So I know that it's set up to be funny, and
Mhm.
um, what I really do to kind of enhance it, like I said, is like the pacing of it. Like some of the lines maybe sped up a little bit, some maybe slow it down a little bit, just kind of add emphasis on certain parts. The inflection in my voice for certain lines, that always kind of helps add a little more, humor to it. Um, and then even just like little words in between, because a lot of times they don't care if you're hitting every line right on the head, as long as you have the feeling, the emotion, and everything is um, the feeling is still there, and you're true to the character. So just adding in little nuances in between, where they
Like
just
what? Can you give me an example of that?
like so the last one I did, what was it? Um, so I had straight legs, and I had like one wing in the basket. And I was like, I
Okay.
told you they call me straight leg Rick for a reason. I only fuck with the legs. Like this, like what I'm gonna do with this, you know what I mean? And just kind of picking it up and just adding more to it, you know what I mean? Just
So
kind of
that was your
that was my
adjustment.
choice. Mhm.